What if love were not a choice? What if it spread the way a virus does, through breath, through touch, through proximity? What if the moment someone looked at you with tenderness, you could feel something bloom inside your chest, uninvited, unstoppable? In this world, love would be airborne. A stranger's smile on the street could soften your heart. A shared silence on a train could bind two souls. A simple act of kindness could ripple through entire cities. At first, it would feel like a miracle. Hospitals would change. Patients would recover not only with medicine, but with affection. Nurses wouldn't just heal bodies, they would transmit hope. Prisons would empty, not because laws changed, but because rage could no longer survive. You cannot hate when your chest keeps filling with warmth. Wars would stop, not through treaties, not through fear, but because soldiers would look at each other and feel the same tremor inside. You cannot pull a trigger when your hands are trembling with care. Borders would blur, not on maps, but in minds. The world would begin to breathe differently. People would greet each other not with suspicion, but with recognition, as if every encounter whispered, "I see you. I feel you. You matter." But every blessing carries a shadow. If love is contagious, so is vulnerability. You would no longer be able to protect your heart. You could walk into a room and feel dozens of stories enter your chest at once. A woman's grief, a child's longing, a stranger's unspoken hope. You would love people you never chose. You would feel connected to lives you cannot follow. Some would beg for distance. "Please," they would say, "I need to be alone." But solitude would no longer be sterile. Even in silence, love would linger in the air. You would fall in love with people who cannot stay, with those already bonded, with those passing through, with those you must let go. Hearts would open faster than life can answer. Some would try to build walls. Cities would invent sterile zones, masks not to block disease, but to block affection. Rooms where no one speaks, trains where no one meets your eyes. But love would find a way. It always does. Children would grow up unable to believe in cruelty. They would ask, "Why did people ever hurt each other?" And adults would struggle to explain a past where love was rare, where it had to be earned, where it could be withheld. Relationships would change. You wouldn't say, "I love you," as a promise of possession. You would say it as a state of being. Not, "You are mine," but "I feel you." Jealousy would weaken, not because pain disappears, but because you would understand. Love does not reduce when shared. It multiplies. You would still feel loss. You would still feel separation, but you would never feel alone. Every encounter would leave a trace. Every goodbye would carry gratitude. Every ending would still contain connection. And yet, some would ask, if love is everywhere, does it still mean something? If everyone feels it, Is it still special? Maybe the question is not whether love should be rare, but why we ever believed it had to be. What if love was never meant to be protected, but to be breathed? What if the world was never meant to be conquered, but to be felt? And what if the reason love hurts so much in your world is not because there is too much of it, but because there is not enough? What would change if the air itself reminded you every day that you belong? Would you still build walls? Would you still choose fear? Or would you finally dare to live as if love were inevitable? What if love was contagious?